Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we'll be talking about Roman numerals. Before we get started, I'm going to go over some rules and tips and tricks to help in solving the problems. So let's start with rule number 1. If you are going from a big number to a small number, then you need to add. If you are going from a small number, like rule number 2, to a big number, then you need to subtract. And always remember, when you are subtracting, to choose the opposite letters or numbers depending on the question that you are answering. Rule number 3 is repeat a letter up to 3 times. Tip number 4 is to avoid negative numbers. Tip number 5, beware of any digits with 4s and 9s in them, because those are the numbers that's usually going to have a subtraction problem, which means that you usually most likely will need to find the opposite letter or use the opposite number. Let's go ahead and jot down our chart symbol. I have the number 1, 5, 10, 50, 100, 500, and then 1000. The Roman numeral for 5 is V, and then Roman numeral for 10 is X, Roman numeral for 50 is L, the Roman numeral for 100 is C, 500 is D, and then 1000 is M. So let's say I have the Roman numeral VI. We know that V is 5 and then I is 1. Am I going from a big number to a small number or a small number to a big number? Based on this example, I'm going from big to small, so that means I need to add. So this is going to be 5 plus 1, and this is going to equal 6. So VI is 6. Let's try another example. Let's try Roman numeral LXX. L is 50, X is 10, and X again is also 10. And based on these numbers, am I going from big numbers to small numbers or small numbers to big numbers? We're going from big to small, so that means that we need to add. So this is going to be 50 plus 10 plus 10. And this is going to equal 70. So Roman numeral LXX equals 70. Let's try another example. Let's try IV. We know that I is 1 and then V is 5. Based on these numbers, am I going from big to small or small to big? And based on these numbers, we're going from a small number to a big number. So if you're going from a small number to a big number, that means you need to subtract. So that means I am subtracting, and we know that this does equal -4, because 1 minus 5 equals -4. But remember, we are not using negative numbers, so this is a no. We are not using negative number, but I can use this. So your answer is going to be 4. So Roman numeral IV is 4. Let's try IX. So I is 1. X is 10. Based on this example, I'm going from a small number to a large number. So I know I need to subtract. When I subtract, this is going to give me a -9. But remember, no negatives. So I'm not going to use this, but I will use a regular 9. So IX is 9. Let's look at this example up here. If you did not switch it from, because we got IV, we said IV is 4. If you did not switch it, then you would have ended up with VI, and VI is 6. Same with this example here. We know that IX equals 9. But if I did not switch my numbers, that means I would have been left with XI, and that equals 11. So let's get into some more examples. So let's say we have the Roman numeral VIII. So V is 5, I is 1, I again is 1, I again is 1. Based on these numbers, I'm going from a big number to a small number, so I'm adding 5 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, and this is going to give you 8. And then 5 plus 3, and this is 8. So VIII is 8. Let's try LXXX. So L is 50. We know that X is 10. X is 10 again. And then X is 10. Based on these numbers, we are going from a big number to a small number. So I'm going to add 50 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. And when you add 50 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10, you're going to get 50 plus 30, and that is going to be 80. So LXXX equals 80. What if we had Roman numeral I? Okay, so I is 1, I is 1, and I is 1 again. All right. Although we are not going from a big number to a small number and a small number to a big number, these numbers are the same. You're still going to add. Okay, so 1 plus 1 plus 1, and this is going to be 3. So let's try Roman numeral X, I. Okay, so X is 10, I is 1, and then I is 1 as well. I'm going from a big number to a small number. I'm going to add 10 plus 1 plus 1, and I'm going to get 10 plus 2, and this is going to give me 12. What about XV? X is 10, V is 5. I'm going from big to small number. I'm going to add, so 10 plus 5 equals 15. So XV is 15. What about Roman numeral D? What is Roman numeral D? D is 500, so Roman numeral D is 500. What if I gave you DC? Roman numeral D is 500, and then Roman numeral C is 100. So I'm going from big to small. I'm going to add 500 plus 100, and that's going to equal 600. So Roman numeral DC is 600. LVI. So Roman numeral L is 50. Roman numeral V is 5. And then Roman numeral I is 1. Sorry, that's supposed to be a 1. So I'm going from a big number to a small number. I'm going to add 50 plus 5 plus 1. It's going to be 50 plus 6, and this is going to equal 56. So LVI is 56. What about D, C, C, C? All right, D is 500, C is 100, C is 100, and then C again is 100. I'm going from big number to a small number. So 500 plus 100 plus 100, and then plus 100 again. Okay, so this is going to be 500 plus 300, which is going to equal 800. So DCCC is going to be 800. All right, so let's try this Roman numeral. We have Roman numeral X, I, V. We're going to do X is 10, I is 1, and then V is 5. For this example in particular, I see that I'm going from big number to small number and small number to a big number. So this is a mixture. Let's just call this, for just our notes, we're going to call it a mixture because you're going from a big number to a small number and you're going from a small number to a big number. The easiest thing to do is to first pinpoint where the small number to big number is taking place because you know that's going to mean you have to subtract. And remember, when you're subtracting, you have to do the opposite letter or the opposite number. The first thing I'm going to pinpoint where the small number to big number is taking place. And that's where it takes place, right there. I know, again, small to big, you mean you're going to subtract. So I know that this is -4, right, when we subtract, but we're not going to use any negatives for our rules. So I'm not going to use this, but I will use a 4. I can use that. This is what I want. So then this becomes 10 plus 4, and this is going to be 14. X, I, C, X. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use our chart. So X is 10, I is 1, X again is 10, okay? So I have a mixture. We're going to call this a mixture of big to small and small to big numbers. So first thing I'm going to do is pinpoint where my small to big is, and it's taking place right here. So I already know I'm going to subtract, and I also know that I need to take the opposite, right? So this is going to give me -9 for our tips and tricks. No negative numbers. So I don't want this, but I will use a 9. So this becomes 10 plus 9, and this is 19. So your final answer is going to be 19. What about Roman numeral CM? C is how many? 100. M is how many? 1,000. Okay. So I'm going from a small number to a big number. I need to subtract. Automatically know I need to subtract. So this is going to be negative 900, but we said no negatives. So I can't use that, but I will use 900. So CM is 900. What about Roman numeral XL? X is 10. L is 50. I'm going from a small number to a big number. That means I need to subtract, and 10 minus 50 is going to give me a negative 40 per our tips and tricks. Remember, we're avoiding negative numbers. So we're going to be, it's going to equal 40. So XL is 40. XL, I. So X is 10, L is 50, I is 1, I is 1, and then I is 1. So here, are we going from small to big or big to small? And honestly, this is another mixture problem. We have a mixture of small to big and big to small. The first and easiest thing to do is to pinpoint where the small to big is taking place. And based on these numbers, the small to big takes place right here. All right, so I know I am subtracting here. So this is going to be a negative 40, but we're not using negative numbers. So I'm going to cross this out, but I will use a 40. So this will be 40 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. And this is going to be 43. Okay, so this equals 43. All right, what about Roman numeral CLIX? Okay, so C is 100, L is 50, I is 1, and then X, we have 10. Okay, we're going from, again, we have a big to small here, and then we have a small to big here. Okay, easiest thing to do first is to pinpoint where your small to big is taking place. And it's taking place right here. So this is going to be 1 minus 10. This is going to be a no-go. This is no, but I do want the 9. Okay, so now I have 100 plus the 50 plus 9. So this is going to be 100 plus 59, which is going to equal 159. What about Roman numeral XLV? So X is 10, L is 50, and then V is 5. First thing you do, I know I have a big to small number going here and then small to big here. Let's pinpoint that out and solve the small to big first. Small to big, this is negative, so this is going to be a negative 40. Remember, you do not want the negative 40, so I'm going to cross that out, get rid of this. So I do want the 40 though, I'm taking the opposite, and then plus 5, which is here. So this is going to be 45, okay? So XLV equals 45. XCIV. All right, so X is 10, C is 100, I is 1, and then V is 5. So let's look at our problem. We have a mixture here of small to big. Oh, so this one we have a mixture of small to big and small to big again. All right, so that means I'm subtracting here and here. All right, so I know this is negative 90 and this is negative 4. But remember, no negatives. We're not dealing with negative numbers. So this is going to be 90, and this is just going to be 4. So my answer, I'm adding, is going to be 94. So XCIV equals 94. So let's do X, 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 I, X. So X is 10, X again, we have 10, X again is 10. I is 1, and then X is 10. So based on these numbers, we know that these numbers are the same here. And then here at the end, I'm going from a small to big. So that's the first thing we're going to do. Since I have a mixture, I'm going to do the small to big first. I know that I am subtracting here. But when I subtract, it's going to give me a negative 9. But I do not want the negative 9. No, we don't want you. We do want the 9 though. So now I have 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 9. So you get 30 plus 9. This is going to equal 39. So x equals 39. And that's it, guys. So I will see you in my next video. All right, talk to you later. Bye.